This show is all about you. Bring your questions, and it can be Carnival specific. Mark, how long have you been at Carnival?
I've been with Carnival for 18 years, Stuart. I actually spent 10 years on board as a department head from 1998 to 2008. And then I moved into our corporate campus here in Miami and been in the office ever since. So I've seen it, I've seen where we were in the 90s and where we are today as an industry. Yeah. And there is no better time to sell cruises than there is today. Absolutely fact.
Here, here. Now, let's talk about groups now. Do you see groups growing among the agent community, or let's just say among your onboard population? Is that growing? Has it been stagnant? Is it decreasing? Give us a quick update on what you see going on.
We do see group business increasing. A lot of businesses are realizing that perhaps instead of spending tons of money renting out facilities in Vegas or these big convention halls, that hey, let's combine some business with some fun and come on board. And family reunions are very, very huge for Carnival, and we're seeing a lot of families getting together and taking their group vacation on board Carnival. And believe it or not, weddings too, Stuart, are quite big as well. I'm not sure of the average cost of the land-based weddings, but I know they're a fraction of the cost on board. And again, you have to combine business and fun together, and doing it on board a cruise ship, specifically Carnival, is a great way to get that accomplished.
Yeah. So let me just recap here. Number one, business, the business side of it, which would be meetings, conferences, incentives, right? We could talk all day long about that stuff. That's big business, and the beautiful part of that for the incentives and for the meetings, pretty much, agents, you're collecting a paycheck from one entity. They're just signing the check, man, and they usually want the best for an incentive. What are they going to give everybody? The lowest accommodations with no bells and whistles? Come on. And then family reunions you're hearing, and then weddings as well. So, Mark, let me start off asking this next question, which is, in all your years, whether it's working on board or recently working with agents, because you and I just spent time at a group travel sales summit that we did together for Nexion. What frustrates you from the supplier side that you wish the agents either did more of or did less of?
I wish the agents would stick their feet in the sand and become very firm and friendly with the group. Let them know that one of them dropping out or them canceling a cabin can affect the rest of the group. And from the supplier side, obviously we build our ships not for conferences and meetings, but for enjoyment. So perhaps the industry as a whole would need to take a look and see how we can build ships of the future to not only be for enjoyment, but also turn some of those lounges, at the push of a button into a multifunctional room. Yeah. I think the whole industry perhaps needs to get together and figure that out. Right. But I wish the agents would just don't be afraid, become firm and friendly with your groups, with your group leader. This is the way it's going to go. If they want to travel, the deposits need to be in-house, and let them know, their actions can affect the rest of the group when it comes to tour conductor credits and so on and so forth.
Right. I think it's a really great point, and I practiced that when I did my river cruise. Mark, I don't know if you know, but I'm just back from a partial ship charter of river cruise boat, the Ama Christina, that I did for friends and family. And in all my communications, on the deposit invoice, on everywhere, I put those deadlines, the deadlines and the consequences, terms and conditions for cancellations, for changes and so forth. And actually, I had 3 cancellations. 2 who canceled in time to get their deposit back the last day. 1 couple canceled 60 days prior, and they lost some money. But I remember being on the supplier side, and this is probably what you're referring to, Mark, is when you get that call from an agent saying, "Oh, can you help me? Oh, can you help me?" But because there's usually, right, Mark, there's these, and right, agents, there's terrible situations, sad things that happen, unexpected things, and then you try to beg and plead with the cruise line, but most of the time you can't break those rules, man. So, be firm and print and make sure the consumer sees a copy of the cruise lines, right, to mark terms and conditions, and also your own, if they may be different. And make sure they sign it so they get it.
Yeah, that's true. Because with the group, you have so many cabins. The cruise line will give you this. When you drop below that amount, some people still want the cruise line to give them this, and
right.
Unfortunately, there's always a gray area. Nothing's ever black and white in this industry.
Right.
But yeah, firm and friendly is the best way to go, because you always want to set the expectations out of the box. And once a guest knows that their travel professional is firm and friendly, that it just makes for a better booking. There's no, hand-holding and guiding, that always has to be there, and that's what a travel professional does better than anybody else in the world.
Right.
But hey, you run a business as a travel agent, and the guests need to know that from the onset. It's not you don't run a charity. It's not for profit. You run a business, but you're there to make them, give them the vacation of a lifetime.
Yep. Yes. Well put. Well summarized. And I want to jump into not-for-profit or fundraising for just a minute, because I know there was something specific you wanted to share. We're not going to spend a lot of time on it, because I want to move into trade shows and booths and that kind of stuff, because our agents in our online group bootcamp community talk a lot about that. How do we maximize doing trade shows? How do we make it work? And how do we get the supplier to come in and help pay and participate? So that's next. But come back to fundraisers for just a second. I know there was something you wanted to share that really sort of, it's sort of a black and white issue too. Do you want to just share that, some wisdom with us?
Yeah, I'll share that quickly, Stuart. When you're doing fundraising groups, you really need to drill down. Is it a fundraising group for, let's say, the local girls group that wants to have a car wash and raise money to go on a cruise? Because we do have our groups department, we do have a program where we do matching contributions for, like, let's say, band camps and universities and such. But we also have a separate division here at Carnival that is called the Carnival Foundation, Stuart. Okay. And the Carnival Foundation here at Carnival is part of a Carnival Corporation, and they deal with, very strict and compliant 501c3 nonprofit, entities. Right. And just to give you an idea of some of the partners that we work with, in Health and Human Services, it's the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, Best Buddies International, Feeding South Florida Special Olympics, and those are true organizations that have a exempt status, a 501c3 as a nonprofit company. So when you speak to a group leader and they say, well, we want to do a fundraising, you have to do some intel work and some due diligence to find out what they really are, because what they think they are and what they really are is two different things. And if they are a 501c3 nonprofit company, there's a lot of vetting that has to go on to make sure everybody's in compliant with that.
Yes, compliance. This is a big piece of information, everybody. I know some of you guys already do fundraising groups. Some of you have big interest in it. And Mark, I'm glad you laid that out. And just a reminder, if you have a comment, a question, an anecdote, go ahead and write it up. We'll bring it up. We'll hash it out right now. If you're a visitor and you're not part of boot camp, but you're an invited guest here, just let me know. I want to welcome you in. Now let's slide slide. How do you like that? Let's slide over to trade shows and booths. Agents have these opportunities all the time, right, guys? And they want you or another brand to come in and work the booth, help defray the costs, and provide materials. All too often, and haven't been on that side of the fence, man, I've worked so many trade shows that are dull, boring, not equipped well, and you walk away saying, well, what did I accomplish? What did I accomplish? I gave away 100 Tootsie Rolls or lollipops. I collected 100 cards, but nobody took my card. You know, so can you give us any wisdom, any tips so that we can be more accomplished and get you guys to participate more?
Yeah, I think when it comes to trade shows, you know, everybody's got a different idea of what a trade show is.
Right.
I'll just give, you know, I'll give everybody that's participating today, you know, typical trade show is a 6-foot table with a skirt or a tablecloth, you know, and there's some type of branding, and you've got different brochures from different suppliers on the table and a banner, and, you know, if they book, you know, they get a special either, you know, gift or they get a special onboard credit and so on. My suggestion is that you link up or sync up with organizations in your area. And I would love to tell you to go right to a David's Bridal and ask the manager to put you on a list when they do the bridal shows. You know, that way the more people that you see at a trade show that touches your product that you're selling or picks up a different brochure from a supplier, the more chance you have of making money. The more eyes that see what you're selling, the more chances you have of making money. So you want to go out to different organizations in the area, the different businesses, sign up at the Chamber of Commerce, and see what trade shows are going to attract the most people. That's kind of step one, Stuart.
Yep.
You want to have a game plan. You want to have a roadmap. You don't want anybody to say, well, I want to attend a trade show. Okay, well, what are you going to focus on? Where's the trade show? How much it costs? How many people attend? I mean, a trade show at a local church that has 50 people, but they charge $500 for the table, chances are is not a good investment.
Right.
But most of the time, you want a trade show that has at least 1,000 attendees. You want to go out as well. And you want to go out and, you know, the old adage is you spend money to make money. Go out and brand your travel agency. Get a tablecloth. Get a pop-up banner. And design something that when you're at a trade show, you're going to pop, Stuart. You know, the agents are going to pop out at those attendees.
Right. Yeah, I agree. There's got to be something that pops. And Mark, do you see more agents having success just going and talking in general, or going with a specific group, promoting something specific? What do you see? Where do you see the biggest success? Just going just to be there and to brand, or to actually sell something specific?
It actually would depend on the type of trade show. You know, an example would be a David's Bridal or a wedding show. You know, and that's a great way to grab group business, because you're going to always get people that are going to want to go on the cruise and that are part of the wedding, and they get word of mouth advertising. But a lot of agents that I speak to go to trade shows and have wild success with family reunions.
Yeah.
And because a lot of the times that the agents will go to a trade show, and the attendees will pick up a book, and they'll start talking about their family. And, you know, it's always good, by the way, Stuart, I didn't put this in, but it's always good to attend trade shows with maybe somebody else that is working with you, or somebody else in your family. That way, no attendee is left unattended at the table. You always want to keep the conversation going. You don't want to let people wait. But family reunions have been really good at trade shows, and the wedding trade shows, specifically for the different bridal companies, have been outstanding for agents that I speak to, because everybody's there for a specific reason.
Right.
And that's important to kind of like specify, you know, to what you actually want to sell. But the bridal shows, Stuart, are fantastic to grab business.
Okay, that's great. I think that's a great push. And everybody who's in right now listening, I'm wondering if any of you have ever participated in a bridal show. Share your experience. And also, we do this every Ask Stuart hour. I am more than happy to turn on your microphone for the courageous audience among us. Just let me know you want me to turn it on. I'll tell you when I'm turning it on. You can either ask a question, make a comment, share an anecdote, share a success story, and then we'll shut off your mic. Who's going to be bold? Who's going to be daring? I don't know. Let's see. Deb just came in now. She goes, my apologies for being late. That's okay, Deb. I'm just glad you're here. I get it. You got a business to run. And these are always recorded, so you catch up and see what you missed in the first quarter hour. But we're grooving here. We're moving along. Now, I want to next talk about amenity points. I know with Carnival they're called fun points. And one of the things that I teach in boot camp and when I'm on the road that drives me bananas is when agents share this information, what an amenity point or gap point is with a consumer, because in my not so humble opinion, I believe that this is a tool, this is a resource for the agent to use to maximize sales, maximize profits, maximize value, either maximize, ultimately maximize sales. Mark, give us insight into that and any best strategies for using these amenity points, because sometimes we immediately go, let's give the, chocolate covered strawberries. Well, really? Is somebody really going to make a booking and remember that when they have enough food, for a lifetime? Well, so pour it out, my friend. What do you got for us?
It's funny, Stuart, that, and me included, everybody likes something complimentary. And I don't think, and if anybody says they don't, I don't believe them. But fun points is a great way to do something special for your group. And I just want to back up 1 second, Stuart. Perhaps I should just let everybody know that with Carnival, to qualify for group space, you need to have a minimum of 8 staterooms or more. And if you have a group consisting of 16 guests or more, we have specialists that will help you prepare everything for you, even down to the very minute detail, including cocktail parties on board, different meetings. And if you have a group of 50 guests or more, they actually can customize, Stuart, a group shore excursion as well.
Okay, with 50, I was just writing that down. So with minimum 50, you'll do a custom group shore excursion.
That's correct, yes. So getting back to the fun points, what they do for travel partners in the group, it allows them to combine the group rates with the amenities to actually make the program work and make it more robust. And we do have a listing of what sailings offer fun points on GoCCL.com. Okay. And there is a minimum stateroom requirement for certain fun points, and that's going to tie into being the firm and friendly, Stuart. Right. I'm going to give you an example. Say there's a 7-day sailing, and you need to have a minimum of, for a shared cocktail party, you have to have a minimum of 8 staterooms. Okay. Well, being firm and friendly is going to help that come to fruition. If somebody drops off and you go below the requirement, what do you think happens to the cocktail party? It's gone. So we offer a variety of complimentaries or gifts, as you call them, Stuart, for different sailings. For instance, this is just an example. On some 3- and 4-day sailings, we'll offer 2 and 3 amenity points, and they can include complimentary champagne and chocolate-covered strawberries, or on some longer sailings where we have 5 minimum staterooms required and at least 1 amenity point, we'll offer, let's say, a group photo or a robe or even a Carnival tote bag. So those are great ways to entice the guests to get more people in the group, because the more staterooms you have, then the better selection of gifts that you can place in your guest stateroom as well. And believe me, that is an awesome touch for a travel agent to send something to a guest stateroom on his or her behalf. The guests absolutely love it. And you can even select onboard credits as well, Stuart, with the Fun Point program at Carnival.
Right. So it doesn't necessarily have to be an item per se, but it could be the credits that they can use. Or I'm just curious, do you offer a bonus type commission as well as an option?
We sometimes have different promotions throughout the year that have different, let's say, benefits for the travel agent. So, the best way to see the current promotions that we have is for everybody to, when they go to www.goccl.com, they'll be able to see on the very home page on the bottom right all of the different promotions that we're currently offering right now.
Okay. And I always tell agents, Mark, that although we're going to be firm and friendly, which I love, firm and friendly, of when they'll receive these gifts or these bonuses or these extras, whatever it may be, that, and this is no disrespect to Carnival or any brand, but I believe the agent should take the credit. Rather than saying, Carnival's going to give us, I'd like the agent say, hey, listen, I'm going to work a little magic for you, and I'm going to give you this, or I'm going to give you a Carnival tote, or I'm going to give you something like this. At the end of the day, you, Carnival, you don't care. You want the business, and it's going to make people happy, but I think it empowers the agent. So the client who has a choice, they could have booked online too, click, or booked any other place, says, wow, you're my agent. You're cool. I love you. You're going to give me the strawberries. You're going to give me the upgrade, whatever it may be. That's firm and friendly. They need to achieve it. And so it's a gift coming from the agent, and that's how I say they should leverage it. I want to go to a comment here made by Linda, and this is about the bridal shows. And listen up, everybody, because clearly for every success there's a failure, or I would say for every one success there's a dozen failures, because sometimes it doesn't always work. The whole idea about this boot camp and this session is how can we maximize the successes. So let me put my glasses on. So hold on, Linda, so I can read. Thanks for sharing. I tried bridal shows many years ago. Did not go well. The brides were looking for what they could get for free and often cited that the groom was responsible for the honeymoon and would not share their information. For me, it was out of leads to nowhere. So Linda did not have a good experience, and I appreciate you being courageous sharing this, Linda. So Mark, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and obviously the bride's there on a mission and Linda's there on a mission. Any comments, Mark?
Yeah, it really will depend on the actual people attending the shows. You're gonna attend shows where you're gonna have the brochures on the table from all of the suppliers and all of the wonderful items that we do provide travel partners, and people are gonna come by with their bag open and they're stocking up for Christmas. Right. And that's just basically how it is. There's all different types of people out there, and that's why I like to say always bring somebody with you to a trade show that's kind of dialed into not everything in the cruise business, but knows enough that they can talk on their own, because you're going to get guests that are going to want to have your undivided attention and that are very serious about booking. Yeah. So you got to know how to play both sides of the coin, because, and I've been to hundreds of trade shows, as Stuart has, and it runs the gamut from one end of the spectrum to the other. Yeah. But you always have to kill everybody with kindness, because you never know when somebody's going to bring you a booking, and that's going to put some cash in your pocket.
I hear you. Right, and it's better to be second in line than not in line at all. I'd like to make a suggestion, and thank you, Mark, for that. So, Linda, clearly some of the shows we go to are just from the get-go. Maybe they're putting out sort of false expectations to the attendees. So the quality of the shows, of course, are different. And that's why it's great before you lay down that money to invest. Talk to folks who've gone there before. Maybe there's other agencies who've gone there before that are in your community that you guys are friendly competitors. Hey, what'd you think? What was it about? Get an idea. See how they're marketing it. See how they're selling it to the public so you know what the expectations are. My thing with these trade shows is that, you know, people are walking by and they have an agenda, right? Of course, they're going to take as much free stuff as they can fit or more. And they don't want to stop and have a conversation. They're afraid. They don't want to be sold to. Nobody wants to be sold to. Think about when we go to trade shows or festivals or stuff like that. But I think there's got to be that line when, you know, when people are looking for something free, or what have you got for me, or hey, I'm not decision maker. Baloney. They are. That's why they're there. Okay, is you need to have that one-liner that's powerful. And I know I like to say a lot that somebody says, what do you have for me? Say, well, I got peace of mind for you, and that's free. You book any place, but brides and grooms who book with me go with peace of mind, because the last thing in the world you want is for something to go wrong. And so the future Mr. and Mrs. Jones, my brides and grooms, nothing goes wrong. Would you like to have a conversation? It's a busy market here. Let me buy you a coffee. I'll tell you what I mean by that. Or what I always come back to, and Mark, you may have heard me say this down at the Group Travel Sales Summit, and everybody at boot camp, you hear me say it, but I can't tell you how important it is that you say it too. What you do. Number one, you reduce stress and risk. I mean, all you have to do is say number one, and I would hope that bride comes a little closer and say, talk to me, because this thing is very stressful to plan. I'm going to be nervous that things are going to go wrong, whether it's the wedding or the honeymoon. Number two, you add value and convenience. You know, I know you've got the Carnival brochures and everything there and stuff, but say, look, pick up one of Mark's brochures and say, look, you can buy this cruise anywhere, but you're going to want to buy it from me. Why? Because you're going to have no stress, no risk, and a lot of added value and convenience. If that's something you want, let's have a conversation. If not, take a Tootsie Roll or a lollipop and be on your way. As my friend Mike Marshev says, and a lot of you guys know Mark, and then I'll stop talking here, but I say I got to share this point. There's two kinds of people in the world. I don't know, Mark, if you've ever heard this before. Two kinds of people in the world. Those you can help and those you can't. And it's our mission to find out who we can help. Linda? Oh, Linda says thank you. You bet. Mark, just one second. I want to go to Marty here, who has a comment. Thanks for Marty for sharing. Glasses are on. Yep, we've had the same results with bridal shows. However, we have learned that bridal shows are good for long-term leads, not for a quick sale. Be in it for the long haul or save your money. We're still getting sales from bridal shows 2 to 3 years ago. That's good stuff, Marty. Mark?
Thank you very much, Marty. That's a great point, and that kind of will go back to what I said. Although you didn't get the bridal show or the wedding, you're getting other ancillary business from an event that you attended, but it's not the business that you wanted at the time, if that makes sense, Stuart.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. Can everybody hear me again? Because a couple of you said that there was mute, but Krista said we're back on. Marty, are we back on? You guys can hear? Are you reading lips or can you hear me? We'll find out. Hang on just a second, Mark, because you know technology, you love it, and you just got to love it and you got to hate it because you never know. We're good. All right. Indeed. So listen, everybody, what Mark just said and what Marty just said was that if we go on a specific mission saying, I'm looking for honeymoons, I'm looking to destination weddings, which is great because you need to have a purpose, you need to have the right materials, you need to have the right talk track and the experience. But you need to be open. Because I guarantee you, every single person walking that floor goes on vacation or is going to be going at some point. Everyone has a friend or family looking to go. And I don't know if you guys know my phrase that pays, but I'll say it again. Whenever you meet somebody, if you talk to that person on the phone, yep, the old-fashioned phone, 6 times a day, you give them the phrase that pays. Thanks for making me your travel agent. I'm grateful for your business. Do you have any friends or family who need a vacation? Why can't you ask people at trade show? All right, you're not looking to go anywhere. Baloney, you are, but you don't want to get trapped into a sales conversation. Say, do you have any friends or family who need a vacation? You know, ask and just be open. Be open to anything and everything, because you never know what you're going to walk away with short term. And Marty, thanks for inspiring us to realize that it may not happen at that moment, but it may come in the future.
And if I can add something quickly, Stuart, you know, when you do one of these specific shows, you know, because there's many different themes of trade shows, but going back to a wedding event, you know, realize why the people are there. Well, they want to get married. So perhaps it might behoove a travel agent, if they're attending a specific show like a wedding show, to maybe go out and figure out or find how much a traditional land-based wedding costs, and then how much a typical wedding would cost on a cruise ship.
Right.
We have packages where the guests can do it on board the ship, at the ports of call, or like I said, at one of the islands as well. We have two different packages, and the ceremony at sea will actually be performed by the ship's captain. So we have a huge wedding department here that can, you know, guide the travel agent and the bride and groom, you know, through this path of having it come to fruition and have it to go flawless on board. Okay. And they're there, you know, 9 to 7 Eastern time, Monday through Friday. It's not, you know, this is a group wedding. It's not something that, you know, you just can snap your fingers and done. There's a lot of special final touches and hand-holding that have to be done. But like Marty said, this can spawn great business and relationships down the road to gather even more business than you even thought imaginable.
Yeah, I agree. There are 3 ideas popped into my head. I want to lay them out there, everybody. Number 1, one of the greatest things to do at a trade show when people are walking by and they may not want to have a conversation is to give out a free tips sheet. So let's say you're all about groups on cruise ships. You can give out what Mark just alluded to, a tip sheet, the 10 top reasons why getting married on a cruise ship is better than any place else on earth, something like that. And you guys know the answer to these, and if you don't have the answers, call Mark, send him an email, he'll tell you why. Okay, so whether you're going to promote resorts or ships, give out the free tip sheet with your contact information on it, because it's one thing they may pick up the brochure and take it home. It's altogether another they pick up your own branded piece. Number 2, okay, there's a question for you, Mark. I know some hotels do this, that if it's a destination wedding, they actually connect the bridegroom with the hotel direct, once everything's booked and done, to plan out the details. I don't know if that's something you guys do, or everything flows through the travel agent, cruise line travel agent client, or is there ever a direct connection between the bride and groom and your wedding department?
No, we would always go through the travel professional. That's the relationship that we have, and we would never, you know, a lot of times the bride will conference call Carnival in with the travel agent on the phone, right, but we don't contact the guest directly. No.
Okay. All right, that's great to know. I think that's important, and the fact that you can do sort of those 3-way calls too is great too, because there are a lot of intricate details. And number 3, Mark, I'm going to pose a challenging question to you that has come up often when we talk about destination weddings, whether it's on land or on a ship, which is when the uncle, the cousin, who thinks they're outsmarting everybody, they don't book through the group. They say, oh, I'm going to book it over here because it's $50 cheaper, but I'm still going to attend the wedding. It happens, Mark. I'm sure you've heard that, have experienced it, but what can you share with our professionals today about how to avoid that, to make sure clients aren't compelled to do that and stay within the group?
Well, you always have to sell yourself, because nobody delivers service better than a travel professional, Stuart. That's first and foremost. And you know, it's very simple. You know, they book in the group. They're in the honeycomb, so to speak, of maybe getting some in-stateroom amenities, everybody dining together, which is very important, and having that group photo, and having the travel professional handle everything. And it's very simple. When you book out of the group, unfortunately, you're not going to be privileged to have any of those special, let's call them perks, although I really do not like that word, perk, but you're going to get guests that, hey, I booked somewhere else, and I want to have the same amenities and the same everything as the other 20 people that booked in the group. You run a business, it just does not work like that. Right. And you're going to get that, but that's where you have to put your feet in that cement, let it dry, and be very firm with them. Yeah. You want A, B, C, you book with me.
Right. Firm and friendly, once again. These are the amenities, and what I like to use is the word package, because in boot camp we teach packages. We teach never selling the off-the-shelf, bare-bones, stripped-down product, because anybody could book that anywhere. So the value of the full, complete package has to be superior, which would give the uncle or the cousin less inclination to look elsewhere, because and an agency, you could say this, hey, listen, to all the guests, you could shop all you want. You're going to find it cheaper, but you're going to get cheaper, and you're going to miss out on the whole experience. So you almost, I think, if you're bold enough, confront it head on and be firm and friendly. Say, if you do, the cost may be less, but the disappointment cost will be higher, because there won't be a seat for you at the cocktail party. There won't be a seat from you when the family dines together. There won't be space for you on our private excursion. You will not receive the special gifts we're going to be giving. Firm and friendly, but a firm warning. And Mark, also, that's where it's important the agent stays in close contact with Carnival to make sure that some consumer didn't try to wiggle their way in and book direct. So you always look at that manifest versus what your bride, groom are telling you who have signed up. You know what I mean? So you can say, hey, wait a minute, the Joneses aren't on my list. How are they on your list? Let's figure this out, and let's fix this before we get on board and we have a problem.
That's a great point. It happens all the time, and to be honest with you, a lot of times when I speak to agents, if it's a bride, or if it's a groom, or if it's Auntie Elma or Grammy, if it's a family reunion, a lot of these people, feel a little bit disappointed when somebody books outside of the group but wants the same package as the people. They take it personally because, believe it or not, a travel agent does an awful lot of work, but also a group leader for a family reunion. I've done it many times, Stuart, where I simply wanted to give up with my family because they are tough as nails, and you're gonna get everybody talking in the group. Look what I got, and you can't have this, ha ha ha. But I wanted to touch on the subject of the dining portion, if I could, for a second, Stuart.
Yes.
That's always tricky on board. I don't want to come across and say that, if say today we start a group booking and everybody books today, and then 8 months later, 1 month before the sailing, somebody joins the group and books into the group. We do have so many seats in the dining room, so I don't want to put it out there that dining is always 100% guaranteed, because we know it's not. But when you book a group, the chances of everybody dining together at close proximity at the round tables, it's a lot. The odds are fantastic versus somebody booking outside of the group that nobody knows until the last minute that cousin John booked outside of the group. Well, we don't have any more seats at the dinner table for the main seating. Sorry.
Right. Yep. And firm and friendly, let's go back to the bride and groom. While you don't want to be threatening, they're your clients, it's important, Mark, right up front to tell a bride and groom, look, and be honest, face it on. Look, if any of your friends or family try to call and they book it on their own, they will not only not be part of the group, but it will hurt our efforts to provide all of these amenities. Going back, Mark, before you said before that there are certain tiers based on sales. So how sad would it be, and you could say this to your clients, you know, to the future Mr. and Mrs. Jones, how sad would it be if such and such books outside the group, and because of that we miss out on the complimentary chair cocktail party or cocktail party, if we miss out on this. So you want them to become your best advocates too, to understand the risks of that happening. And like you said, their feelings are hurt. I spoke with a couple, for true story, where it was an uncle, a close uncle, who thought he was full of himself, and he booked for themselves, the couple, outside. And it was really distressing to the bride and groom, as you can imagine.
It's true, Stuart. You're right. It's very distressing.
We have, if you just joined us, we have Marc Campagnone. Marc is with the Carnival Cruises for 18 years, and 10 of which he spent working on board the ships, taking great care of our guests that we would send your way. As you can see by his very long title, he's got a lot of responsibility. And Marc and I had a chance to chat and spend time together recently at a group-focused convention, and that's why he's here today. Because man, you know, from a supplier perspective, this is your opportunity, friends, to ask questions, bring up challenges, share anecdotes. Tell me if you want your microphone on. So I just want you guys to know that it is my pleasure to have Marc on. I'm grateful for him to give us this time together. I want to switch gears now, and let's talk about cruise nights and parties. Tell us, just rattle off a couple of best practices and worst practices, because, man, I've seen people, you know, they have best intentions, man, and two people show up. They have best intentions, and it's oversold. Like, what works, what's not working out there, and how does Carnival interact with the agent to make it a success?
This is my favorite part, Stuart, is you know, how to make this as robust as possible. I'm going to paint the picture for you, Stuart. I'm not Picasso. I'm not even Bob Ross. I'm going to water paint the picture for you. Okay? So, you know, Marc's putting together a large group. I live in Stuart's neighborhood. We've got 20 staterooms coming, 40 guests, and I want to get them excited about their cruise. I want to get them involved. So what do I do? I send an email out to everybody in the group and saying that Marc's going to hold a cruise night at his condo, and while we're at the cruise night, Marc's going to show you how you can download your documents, get your boarding pass, get your luggage tags, get all your paperwork ready, because your cruise is on the Carnival Vista in a month. Stuart, so many times when I travel, and you've traveled extensively on ships as well, when you get that document ready, and you get that exciting feeling, don't you?
Yes. I'm
going on vacation. You just went on your river cruise. When you got that packet in the mail, was it from Alma Waterways?
You bet.
You got excited, right?
Absolutely. It's real. It's palpable. So finally I could touch something.
When I spoke to you just like that now, Stuart, were you excited? Or if I say, hey, Stuart, you want to come over to the condo? I'm gonna talk about the cruise.
Yeah. Well, I don't have time. You know, I'm busy. I don't want to come have a conversation. Just send me what you've got. There was no excitement to that.
Well, you know, Stuart, you know, you've got, you know, your son and your daughter, John and Mary. I want to show you a video on the Carnival Vista. I want to show you the interior of this ship. I've got a great 4-minute video. We're going to have some snacks. We'll have some coffee. We'll have some juice. We'll have some cookies. I'm going to get all of your documents in a row. And then I'm going to talk to you about the different shore excursions that you might want to do while you're in the various ports of call, because we're stopping at Grand Turk, we're stopping at Roatan, Honduras, we're stopping in Cozumel, Mexico, and we're stopping in Ocho Rios, Jamaica. That's how you want to get people, to everybody on this webinar today, over. Now, granted, some people might be coming from out of state, but guess what? We've got different forms of communication now. We've got Apple iPhone. We've got FaceTime. We've got Skype. So no longer are people that are not local are in the dark.
Right.
You want to make sure when you invite people over you can also theme the different cruise nights.
Right.
Like I said, if you just say to your group leader, hey, come on over, I want to chit-chat about the cruise, they're going to be just like Stuart was, very mundane, very blasé, I'm busy. But if you tell them when you come over, it's paperwork time, sure excursion time, you want to see a video, go to Carnival's YouTube channel. You can download a video, play it on your TV right in front of the people, maybe do a little raffle as well. And speaking of raffles, Stuart, I was thinking, I mean, since everybody's been awesome with their questions today, and what do you think about doing a little Carnival VIP gift bag?
I love it. Would you do that? That'd be very cool. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I've got we've got some little goodies that we can ship out right to the person that can answer a question for me. I have a question.
Okay. Listen up, everybody. All right, hang on.
Now, how are they gonna respond to it? By verbal or typing to you?
Typing. So why don't we do this? So you can ask quite like a trivia question or something?
Yeah, I think a trivia question. Something that not something that I would know specifically internally, but something that that everybody perhaps can know really quick. Are you ready?
Right, so here's what we're gonna do. And by the way, Jean Ann, I see your comment. Diamond thinks you look like, and I think this is the name you said. Hang on, Andy Garcia. Isn't that the guy?
That's correct. Yes. Yes.
There you go. All right, Thank you, Diamond. Jean Ann, I promise we're going to come back to you, but Mark's going to give something away. So here's the deal. If you know the answer, type it in. The first person who I receive the correct answer from will win. Go ahead, Mark. It's yours.
What was the name of this ship that was built in 1990 that was the first ship of the most successful series of cruise ships ever built for Carnival?
Say it again.
What was the name of this cruise ship built in 1990 that was the very first ship built of the most successful series of cruise ships ever built for Carnival?
Okay. We already have answers streaming in, so here we go. The first answer that came through was the Carnival Dream.
Incorrect.
Incorrect. Linda, I'm sorry. Wah, wah, wah. Hans was the second answer, and he wrote. So, Mark, is this answer correct? Mardi Gras?
That is not correct.
Sorry, Hans. All right, Deb is in. She came with the third answer. Is the ship's name Elation?
That is not correct.
Oh, no! Now we got Ramona coming in. Is it the Dream?
That is not correct.
Oh, this is getting tricky. All right, Molly's coming in next. Her answer is Carnival Magic?
Stuart?
Yep.
That's not correct.
I was ready to do a dance. Sorry, Molly. We're keeping Debbie's up next with the Carnival Freedom.
Not correct, Stuart.
Wow. All right, here comes Jenny. Here comes Jenny. We've had different answers for everyone so far. Jenny says, is it the Carnival Fantasy?
Congratulations!
Hey! I'll do the dance. Woohoo! Jenny got it. It's the Fantasy. And Diamond, you were probably seconds behind because you said the Fantasy too. Marty said the Mardi Gras. Jean Ann guessed the Fascination. Elaine, hey Elaine, guessed the Fantasy. Krista, the Fantasy. Hans, the Fantasy. Karen, the Splendor. Patrick, Conquest. Clavia, hey, we just saw each other down at the Travel Leaders Conference. The Fantasy. Ramona guessed the Sunshine, and Jenny got it. Cool.
Awesome. So if you can be so kind offline, just send me the address for Jenny, and we're going to send her a special Carnival VIP gift bag. It actually will come in a box, but we're just going to say the word gift bag, and we'll get some nice Carnival gifts in there for her. And thank you for your business, Jenny. We appreciate it and value your support.
Hey, everybody, thanks for guessing. This was fun. Thanks for the surprise, Mark. That was really cool. Jenny says yay. She's very excited. Diamond says, "Oh, Bear, I said it first, LOL," which is funny because it comes down to who can type the fastest. But and she says, "Thank you." That was very, very nice. All right, so I will get your information, Jenny. We'll have that mailed right to you. So I'm going to go to Jean Ann's question here, everybody, and we've got 8 minutes left, and you guys know me by now. We start on time, we end on time. So if you've got something to say, you got something to ask, bring it. Jean Ann writes, beyond cocktail parties and the other items on the GAP list or your fun points list, what other activities and experiences can we add for groups? For example, excursions, team building events, etc., to encourage people to book in the group. So what else can you do for groups that may not be as obvious, Mark?
Well, the obvious ones is the ones that you said, but also for the not so obvious is, grabbing when you have I believe it was 50 staterooms, 50 guests rather, which is 25 staterooms. We're able to customize a group shore excursion as well, and there are different events that you can also do in the port of call. But as far as something that you can entice the guests with, that perhaps if they book into the group, I would always stick with what Carnival offers, because some of the other things that were mentioned is something that we don't really have too much control of. Like team building events, you can certainly have the groups meet at certain locations. I know a lot of people that have medium-sized groups that do get the amenity points from Carnival will also do their own private meet. Let's say when the sun's setting up on Lido deck on the aft of the ship, or when they sail away, they'll have their own private sail away party. But we want you to use what we provide as hooks to get everybody to book in the group. It works very well, and it's less effort on the travel agent to use what we already have, versus doing something and thinking outside the box, which normally is good. Right. But in this case, try to get those 50 guests or those 25 staterooms, because that is a great way for them to say, hey, listen, if we get this many guests, we can have a customizable shore excursion for the group. So I think that's the best route to go, Stuart. Okay. Because when you start trying to think of great ideas, but there's no back-end support of those ideas, and it all falls on the shoulders of a travel agent, it can become very overwhelming. Yeah. One of the things I teach in boot camp, and I think it's in week 4, is a 3-part module on group disasters, how to avoid them. And one of the things is if you overpromise and either you personally or the ship or the product can't deliver. There are so many moving parts. Having worked for the cruise lines too, I worked for Costa, Princess, and Celebrity. Not on the ship, but knowing that there are so many moving parts on the ship. So trying to do, let alone reserve private rooms, that can be a challenge sometimes. And do stuff is tough. So participating in the events, like I don't know, and I want to get to another question that Marty just typed in for you, Mark. Doing your own private scavenger hunt. There's stuff, perhaps you can talk to the cruise manager on board to see if there's a way to do that, or otherwise to do it yourself, and just be prepared that there's already so much going on that people may want to participate in. Quick example, on my river cruise, which includes just about everything, including excursions, right? What can I do to add value? Well, one of the few things I did was I bought a special lunch for my group in one of the ports in Strasbourg. Now, if I had planned that lunch on a different day, people would have said, no, we want to go on this tour. No, we want to eat here. But I did it very scientifically, where they would have had to sort of schlep back to the ship by motor coach and to have lunch on the ship. So it was actually turned about convenient. So friends, if you're thinking, Jean Ann is asking, to do something special, make sure it's operationally feasible and won't be a distraction, but people will say, aces, that's great timing.
So just wanted to add that 2 cents. Marty has, now we have 3 minutes, not seconds. All right, here comes the tough one for Marty. So Mark, Princess has a group excursion program that allows an agency to create a group excursion at net pricing and add on a markup or commission. Does Carnival Cruise Line have anything like this?
We do have a program where you can add a service fee, or you can mark up the actual cruise. Net pricing or net rates, that we do not get involved in. But go to goccl.com, and under the Resource Center tab, you can check out and to see the terms and conditions of the overcharge, as we call it on a group.
Okay. And that's important. Thanks for answering that straight on. There you go, Marty. The good news is there is that allowable overcharge, which is so important when you're doing a package. But every brand, every supplier has different terms and conditions around collecting an overpayment. But the good news is Carnival allows it. Just understand how that works. Molly just sent out a shout out. Thanks for all the great information, which I think this has been helpful. I've very much enjoyed this. We've got 2 minutes left for any last minute comments or questions before class is dismissed. So I'll keep checking the question board. Mark, do you have a parting comment or anything that you'd like to share with our group before we let you go?
Just from Carnival Corporation, thank you for all the business that you provide Carnival. We carry more guests than anybody else in the industry, and we certainly could not do it without our travel partners. So thank you for your support, partnership, and belief in our brand. And just do what you do best. You are the one-stop concierge to guests. I always say we're kind of like running a triathlon here, where at the beginning, you get the guests involved, you sell them on the Carnival Cruise, you provide that initial service, and then you pass the baton off to Carnival, and we take care of the rest from the second they step on board to the time that they get off. It's we all want them to have a vacation of a lifetime.
Yep.
So again, thank you very much for all you do. For Carnival. I say that on behalf of our 101,000 worldwide employees. Again, thank you very much for all the business you provide us.
Mark, thanks for being here. And everybody, thanks for being here on the Ask Stewart Hour. We have a surprise coming up next week, Ask Stewart Hour. I know, like 3 weeks in a row, we've got a LinkedIn expert. I haven't even announced it yet. Well, I just did, but it's not in print anywhere. So you want to come to next week as well. Mark, thanks for being on the Ask Stewart Hour. Everybody, happy sales.